Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio. It is a sure sign that spring is not that far off when the IX Center is taken over this time of year by the Cleveland Auto Show. It is for local auto dealers to kick off to the spring buying season. But cars aren't the only form of transportation on our mind this morning. We expect to learn more tomorrow about a new form of transportation that will take us literally from Cleveland to Chicago almost at the speed of sound. It's called the Hyperloop. The Hyperloop is essentially a train in a tube, with each car stretching over 100 feet, carrying 30 to 40 passengers, using magnetic fields to levitate as it reaches speeds over 700 miles an hour. Hyperloop Transportation Technologies is the name of the company that has just entered into an agreement with NOACA, the Northeast Ohio Area-wide Coordinating Agency, and the Illinois Department of Transportation to begin work on a feasibility study on a Hyperloop route connecting Cleveland and Chicago, 313 miles in just 28 minutes. The train cars would travel in low-pressure tubes, primarily elevated on pylons. Dirk Alborn is the man behind HTT. He told executives at BMW the system will not only be green.
It has a big benefit for us because we're producing more energy than we're using. So now our operational costs are very, very low.
NOACA's board has authorized $600,000 to fund the estimated $1.2 million feasibility study to look at several corridors between Cleveland and Chicago. This comes as another company, Hyperloop One, created by Virgin Airlines founder Richard Branson, announced they're part of a $2.5 million effort that is exploring a Pittsburgh to Columbus to Chicago Hyperloop. Both are offshoots of the Hyperloop concept first envisioned 5 years ago by SpaceX founder Elon Musk. More details of the plan will be announced tomorrow morning. Well, speaking of future plans, we learned this week what's in the cards for the future of a Cleveland historic church. After more than a century of hosting weddings, it will soon be hosting wedding receptions. First United Methodist Church has stood watch over Euclid Avenue for over a century, a witness to the reinvention of this neighborhood from the Millionaire Road days at the start of the last century to today. Now, this place is about to be reinvented itself.
I think this is the jewel of Cleveland.
Cleveland restaurateur Tony George, founder of the Harry Buffalo chain, whose family owns Town Hall, Barley House, Crop, and others, was the high bidder for the church at auction. George purchasing the property for $445,000. It was once listed for sale at $1.7 million.
I think this is one of the most iconic, historic, beautiful buildings in Cleveland. I didn't want it to go to a developer that was going to tear it down.
His plans for the property are to convert it into a banquet facility for weddings and other events that will highlight the craftsmanship that went into the church's original construction.
We're leaving all the stained glass windows in place. We're leaving all the walls in place. We're just going to level the floor, and we're going to make it a banquet facility.
The school, he says, they'll use for office space. George believes Cleveland is on the upswing, and this place, located in between Playhouse Square and the Cleveland Clinic, will be right in the middle of it.
Cleveland is on a resurgence. And, you know, as a family, the George family, we want to do our part to keep that moving.
The church, for those of you who don't know, sits literally across the street from News 5, and it probably caught the eye back in 1972 of the Reverend Billy Graham, who walked through the station's front door that year to talk with Dorothy Foldheim and Alan Douglas ahead of his first Cleveland crusade. Graham passing away this week at the age of 99. At the time, back in 1972, Graham was hoping the Cleveland crusade would send a message of racial unity.
We have insisted that these invitations come from a broad section of the religious community, and also that it be totally interracial. And Cleveland being one of the most strategic cities in America, I think we could have a tremendous impact from Cleveland to other parts of the country, because the crusade here in Cleveland would be on national television at prime evening time and would reach millions of people.
Graham would return to Cleveland and Municipal Stadium in 1994 for another crusade. Billy Graham was 99. With Democracy 2018, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday.